Hi everyone. In this video, we shall be discussing some of the reasons why candidates receive study permit refusal or study permit rejection in Canada. As we all know, Canada is one of the most sought after education destinations in the world. And this is because of their friendly immigration policies and visa rules. And as such, there is always a high surge, a high number of applications for study permits in that country, and they pass it through rigorous and difficult process. Most times, some of these applications are refused or rejected because of one reason or another, which we want to discuss right now. We have about 8 points to discuss, and the first point is insufficient funds. When we say insufficient fund, there are two options to it. There are two reasons why it can be called insufficient funds. One of it is if the minimum or if the account balance of the statement on the statement of accounts, on the bank statement of accounts that the applicant submitted or the sponsor's bank statement does not meet the minimum requirement, the minimum financial requirements for that particular program or for that study permit application, then it can lead to a study permit refusal. Secondly, the minimum balance on that account may be far more than the requirement, but then there are some large sums of money deposit into that account within that period of time and which are not thoroughly explained. If there are large sums of money deposits into your account or into the sponsor's account, it must be thoroughly explained, and some documents will have to be provided in order to explain those funds that came in. Take, for example, you are working and your salary is about 500 USD, and they notice that there are some large sums of about 5,000 USD into that account within that period. A single deposit, let's say a single deposit of like 5,000 USD, which is far more than your monthly salary. So it has to be explained. What are the possible explanations? The possible explanations could be that it's a gift fund from your family members, from your relatives, or your parents, So if it is a gift fund from them, then they should also provide their own, the person will provide his or her own statement of accounts showing where that money, actually came from. And we also need to explain, maybe using his payslip, using his employment letter, promotions letter, to show that, yes, his salary is able to, generate this amount of money over this period of time that he has saved that money. If it is from sale of a property, perhaps landed property or other items, then the receipt of that sale will have to be provided to show that, yes, this money was realized in the sale or from the sale of this particular item. So this receipt will have to be attached. So if this information are not available, the visa officer may deem it as being insufficient funds. Now, another point I want to discuss is transparency about return to home country. You have to convince the visa officer that after your program that you will return back to your home country, because your study permit is not a permanent visa. It has an expiry date. So after your study is completed, you are expected to return back to your home country, although we know Canada is in a visa-friendly country, and there are other pathways that can keep you in Canada after your studies. Pathways like opportunities like postgraduate work permits, permanent residency application, and so on and so forth. But then remember that in this particular application, you are focused on the business of your study. Yes, if it's a diploma program, your 2 years diploma program. So it has nothing to do with postgraduate work permit at this point. Therefore, your explanation will have to, convince the person going through your application that you have the intention of returning back to your home country after the completion of this program. What are the possible explanations that you can give? One, you can mention some form of family ties. Maybe you have some family members, your parents, your spouse, or your siblings, your children are back home, and then you want to return back to them after your program, and they will be, eager to see you in anticipation of of your return after the completion of your program. So family tie is one point that you can give to convince the person going through the application that yes, you have the intention of returning back. Secondly, is mentioning job opportunities or your employment history where you've been working, that they are willing to take you back, and you also have other, firms, other organizations that are eager, are actually looking out for, people who can fill in the positions that, you are studying in school. So mentioning these job opportunities and your family ties is a way to convince the visa officer that yes, you have the intention to return. Choice of program. If your choice of program does not seem logical to the visa officer, then it might be a problem. Let's take, for example, you have a degree in nursing and you've been working for the past 5 years as a nurse in Kenya. And suddenly you now apply for, let's say, hotel management. If you check it, there is no correlation. This, your choice of program, does not align very well with your educational background or your employment history. So it may not fly. But then think of it, if, for example, someone who studied degree in biochemistry and he has been working as a sales representative in one manufacturing company or a telecommunication company for 5 years or for some time, then he applies for a program like business administration, then if you take a look at it, that course aligns with his employment history, so it's going to fly. Or if perhaps somebody is a mechanical engineer and he has been working, he found himself in the IT sector where he has been working as a network administrator, for example, then if he applies for a program like database administration, cybersecurity, data science, and things like that, definitely is going to work because it aligns with his employment history. The next point we want to discuss is acceptance letter. If your acceptance letter is not coming from a designated learning institution in Canada, then there might be a problem, because designated learning institutions are institutions that are approved by IRCC or by the government to offer admissions to international students in various programs. So if your LOA or letter of acceptance is not coming from any of these approved centers of learning, then it could lead to a problem. State of purpose is another point that can lead to study permit refusal. In most countries, the embassies of Canada does not conduct face-to-face interview with candidates. So your statement of purpose is the only tool or opportunity that you have to explain everything about your application, about yourself, to the visa officer. So your SOP or statement of purpose, you're going to explain why you want to invest this huge amount of money to study in Canada. What is the return of investment? What contribution or impact will this program have in your future career? And why do you decide to go for Canada? And why did you choose that particular institution for that particular program? These are the explanations that you need to give your statement of purpose. You also need to explain your purpose of study and what you are going to do after the completion of your program. How you intend to return back? Do you intend to return back, or do you intend to stay back there? You're going to explain all of these. I'm also going to explain your finances. What is the source of fund? Because this is a huge project and it requires lots of money. Therefore, you're going to explain the source of fund, for this program that you are applying for the study permit. So all this information and details will have to be provided in your statement of purpose, and so many other information. So a good statement of purpose can lead to your study application being accepted or being not being rejected. Travel document issue is another point that we want to discuss. Travel document issue. So your travel document must be accurate, and the validity of your international passport, must be a minimum of like 1 year. Then, if you have mentioned that you have some form of travel experience, perhaps you've traveled to one country or another, and in your travel document is not reflecting, there are no visa stamps of countries showing entries and exits, in those countries, then it can actually, it is questionable, and it can lead to rejection of your study permit application. English language proficiency. If you're applying through the SDS, that is the Student Direct Stream pathway, this pathway is available for some countries like Brazil, like China, Pakistan, and some other countries. So if you're applying to this pathway, whereby your application it will pass through an expedited process, it will take lesser time to be completed, and it requires lesser documentation, then IELTS or other form of language proficiency, language text is required for your study permit application. Another thing that can cause refusal or rejection of your study permit is incomplete document. In one of our videos, I have mentioned all the necessary documents that you need in order for you to apply for your study permit. So if any of these documents is missing or are missing, then it can lead to a rejection. All the documents are necessary, from the least to the highest. All of them are important, including your digital passport photo, including your transcript. So please go back and watch that video where I detailed all the documents that you need, affidavits and everything that you need in order, while you are submitting your study permit application, and it differs from one program to another. Lastly, you also need to find out the reasons behind your study permit refusal. If perhaps your application is refused, then you need to find out the actual reason, the specific reasons why this decision was taken. When a student or a candidate receives a refusal letter, it does not contain the specific reasons why this decision was taken. So that's where GCMS note comes in. So GCMS note is a note that is issued by RRCC to request to those who requested for it, stating the actual or specific reasons why that decision was taken on your application. And it can only be applied by a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. So you can reach out to anyone who have any of these status to actually apply for these notes, GCMS notes, on your behalf. And it will be available in about 15 days and can be collected from their office in IRSS Ottawa. So please, having watched this video, and if you have benefited in one way or another from the discussion, please ensure you subscribe to our channel just to become part of our amazing family, and also hit the notification button so that whenever we drop content, you'll be notified. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.